So if I can uncover a perceived problem, then customers will investigate a solution to that problem.
But you also said letting them make the decision. Talk a little bit about, expand on that a little bit. What does that mean? Like,
all right,
you're giving them a bunch of choices? Like, are you going to overwhelm them with options, or what are we doing?
I'll give you a real true story, right?
Anyway, so I think building value starts with, asking the right questions, understanding what's important to the customer, right? Because here's something that I've also learned over the years, and it's true for all of us. We typically, as consumers, don't buy solutions to problems that we do not perceive that we have. Think about that, right?
Sure.
So if I can uncover a perceived problem, then customers will investigate a solution to that problem. But if they don't think they've got a problem, like if you got a customer that's sitting there smoking a cigar in his easy chair, and you got the wife sitting there smoking a cigarette on the couch, and you go in there and you start talking about indoor air quality, it may not be of interest to them. There might be a couple of clues that indoor air quality and health are not major concerns of theirs.
Yep.
Right. So be cognizant of that and understand it. And you may think they're stupid, and I might think they're stupid. Now, I was raised in a 2-parent smoking house, and I smoked one cigarette my whole life. I was like, this ain't for me. I'm out.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, I felt good about selling IAQ myself.
I'll bet. Yeah, and we do talk about that a lot with IAQ stuff. In fact, often, unfortunately, we say that the best selling moment in the industry is when the tech is standing there in the living room with the homeowner. And all too often, the worst salesman in the business is that same tech who is now in the best opportunity ever. So we always wanted to try and help them bridge that gap. Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. And so asking a couple of questions.
Dialogue.
It's all about communication. That's right. Communication and education. Yep.
And Ruth, you said something interesting earlier I wanted to come back to, is that, in terms of maximizing revenue on every call, that education, educating the customer is really important. But you also said letting them make the decision. Talk a little bit about, expand on that a little bit. What does that mean? Like,
All right,
you're giving them a bunch of choices? Like, are you going to overwhelm them with options, or what are we doing?
I'll give you a real true story, right? Technician goes to a home. The wife is there, and there's a laundry list of things. This equipment has really not been taken care of. So he writes it all down and he talks to her about it. And she looks at him and she says, well, what do I absolutely have to do today to get this system running? And he told her. So she approved that repair and declined the rest. She was afraid, as it turns out, that her husband was going to go and have a cow about how much she was spending on her air conditioning system. 2 weeks later, guess what happens?
Big surprise.
One of those things causes the system to fail.
Yep.
Husband gets on the phone ranting and raving. You guys don't know what you're doing. Da, 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 da. Service manager is very good, very calm. He's got the notes in front of him and says, well, sir, I have the notes in front of here, and your wife only approved this particular repair. If it's this or this or this or this, we told her about it and she chose not to do anything about it. We're coming out and we'll take a look. And if it's one of those things, then it is not a warranty call and you will be responsible for paying. And guess what it was? One of those things, of course.
Of course it was.
And, it's like he did his job as a tech. She was just scared. Didn't want to spend a whole lot of money. And as a result, she rolled the dice and lost.
Yep.
The key to success there is documentation, though, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
100%.
Notes.
Yeah, had he
Those
not
notes are
written it all
everything.
down,
Yeah.
and had she not declined all the other repairs, it would have been a warranty call.
That's right.
By the way, that was a no-win situation for her, because if she would have spent the money, then the husband would have got mad. So yeah, she was in trouble. She was in trouble either way.
Talk about a catch-22, right?
He was doomed.
Yeah,
Good.
but it's a perfect example of
Yes.
making sure you document everything.
Yes.
And as a result of documenting everything, I also have a wonderful phrase that's called CMS. And some of you might think of it as a different thing, but it is convenient memory syndrome. You can call it whatever else you want, but if you don't write it down, it never happened.